Hey there, Darkstar here. We're on the next leg, which is leg 9 of Noshahr to Ankara, which is Turkey. Everything opened up for our VIP passengers that will be joining us. Let's get cabin lights, cockpit lights, and some floods on to get started with. Okay, see, we have the GPU on, so we'll get battery and avionics. Gonna pre-flight through here. Yeah, bleeds are off, hydraulics are off, all anti-ice is off. This is gonna be something like that. We'll dial that in later. Ignition is norm. Everything's off here. Okay, let's get our avionics started. That's 3 passengers, 150 pounds of cargo, and we need to load. And we're gonna go max fuel. Okay, so that's 20. I hate the way the camera does sometimes. 2,800 pounds of fuel. I did something wrong. 3 passengers. Okay. Takeoff. Winds were 180 at 2. Temp is 8. What was the 1020? So rotate at 112. Okay, departure's correct. Arrival ILHAN 21 center book. Zach tune. Alright, we want to go 12211. SkyOps Piaggio November 180 Lima Golf. We'd like to pick up our VIPs for transport to Lima Tango Alpha Charlie.
Hold on, while I check the mission queue, I'll get back to you in 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, 1246 is tower.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf SkyOps, hey, we got a short notice charter that needs to get off the ground right now. You're transporting a renowned film director to a movie premiere at Lima Tango Alpha Charlie. They're traveling with an assistant and security. Make it smooth and luxurious. We're sending your crew over now. Expect to be airborne in a few minutes.
1246. Noshahr Tower, Piaggio November 180 Lima Golf. We're ready to pick up our IFR clearance to Lima Tango Alpha Charlie.
Clearance on request. Stand by. Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Noshahr Tower, cleared to LTAC via the IMKER 2 Bravo departure, then is filed. Departure runway 10, initial climb to 4,000, departure on 119.3 squawk
Just getting settled
1425.
and the luggage loaded. We'll let you know as soon as we are secure.
Okay, initial altitude was 4,000. Cleared to LTAC via the MK2B departure, then is filed departure runway 10, then climb to 4,000, departure on 119.3, squawk 1425, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, read back correct.
Okay, 1425. Departure runway 10, that's as expected. And our departure looks correct already, so heading, altitude, departure on 1193, squawk 14245. Noshahr Tower, Piaggio, November 180 Lima Golf. I'd like to pick up our request to start engines.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, start engines approved.
Start approved, 0 Lima Golf. Is everybody loaded and ready to go?
Dark, just reminiscing about our last mission with the Technova Innovations CEO. What a smooth ride that was. As for now, the passengers are buckled up and ready to go.
Okay, we're not gonna push. Well, actually, we could. Let's see. We can play with a new toy. We don't need to go very far, though. So it'd be like that, basically. Boink. And then enter. We're gonna go ahead and start right engine first on the GPU. And I hate it that these things start up here. Okay. Alright, so fuel valve open, pump on main, confirm pressure goes out, right start. Right generator on, right bleed on, hydraulics on. Hydraulics look good. We can disconnect the GPU and release the parking brake and get our pushback going, and off we go. Meanwhile, we can start the left engine. Left generator, left bleeds. And we can set the parking brake, and we're done with pushback. Okay, let's get the EPU armed, auto feather armed. We'll coolers on for a moment. Avionics are on. We can go and get the stall on and the windows on low, at least. Okay, and then we screwed up. I keep forgetting things. I really need to follow the checklist, don't I? Fasten your seat belts. Let's see, check comms. This needs to go on. Why is this not working? There we go, steer on taxi. And we should get our taxi light on now. We have no ground, so we're staying on tower. Noshahr Tower, Piaggio, November 180 Lima Golf, ready to taxi.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, runway 10 taxi at your discretion. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, cross runway 28.
Runway 10, taxi at discretion, cross runway 28, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Approaching runway 28.
Landing light on. Strobes on. So let's see, stall test. Laps. Check. Ice detection. Check. System generators look good. Put these on auto. Takes like 20 seconds and then it should come on. There we go. Sorry, that's fire detection. That should be. Okay, there we go. That's all of them. And then that's fire detection, and that's fuel quantity. Landing gear, check. Fan. Radio altimeter, both reading 50. Hydraulics. And then hydraulic power should come up. And steering, which we will only do when we get turned around here. set the parking brake momentarily. We'll go ahead and check steering, which should go fail. Hit this button to clear it, and then go to takeoff. That is what we want. Okay, and now full prop RPM. Bring the prop up to about 2,000. And then overspeed test, right, check, left, check, and back down. Oil coolers off, check all lights, radios are set. Noshahr Tower, Piaggio, November 180 Lima Golf is ready for departure.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, runway 10, winds 170 at 9 are cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 10, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Oh, we didn't get that one on off correctly. We're going to hand over comms to the co-pilot for this departure, because trying to juggle everything, well, I don't know, what should I do? Let's see. Let's try it. Okay, so we go 1193. That's ready to enter, so that we can go to departure easily when we need to. Okay. Speak one last pass. Everything here is not ready. We need to hit the takeoff button. This goes on to takeoff mode, flight director's ready, showing us pitching up to, I don't know, whatever, 9.5 there. We will be ready to go heading mode, so let's actually preset our actual initial heading is that way on this particular departure. And we will do that. Alright. We got terrain, we got radar, we got everything set. Alright, here we go. Alright, takeoff power set. Releasing the brakes. I set the parking brake is the problem. Okay, there's 80 knots. And rotate.
On runway 10.
let's go flight level change mode.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, contact departure.
Going to departure 0 Lima Golf. Departure Piaggio November 180 Lima Golf is with you at 1,900, climbing 4,000.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Tehran radar contact, climb flight level 380, turn left heading 285, then direct Ramsar when able.
Climb flight level 380, turn left heading 285, then direct RSR when able. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Alright, so we want to go now. More like that. And we want to go. Did we get heading mode on? Heading mode, yes. Okay. And let's get our altitude dialed in. Okay, there's 380. Turn left heading 285. And then direct, so we're going to go ahead and get a little bit more that way. Okay, autopilot on. Where's next? There it is. RSR. All right, add some power. We can get auto feather off, not test off. And let's get sync on. And we can go ahead and get lights off. Go ahead and get seatbelts off. We'll go standard, standard. Nav Map, but it's an app you can install on Windows. It'll even, like, you can grab your flight plan from SimBrief and import it. So I've done that here. We've got, it'll load it into the flight planning side. You can see your fuel report, your current performance, which doesn't seem to be working. Maybe why does that say citation longitude? Oh, well, that sucks. Okay. I didn't realize I needed to do that. I wasn't looking at it before. But it does, it's kind of a pain to set up because you have to go set up your
We're currently near Namakabrud Airport, which is a small but significant airstrip along Iran's lush Caspian Sea coastline. This airport serves as a gateway for tourists heading to the scenic Mazandaran province, famous for its forests and mountain views. Namakabrud itself is a popular resort town, especially known for its cable car that whisks visitors up into the Alborz Mountains for spectacular views.
Kind of cool. It's a decent enough extra tool to have in your toolbox. You can also, like, if you go to your airport, it has a weather tab. You can see NOAA weather radio. Like this one also has VATSIM. You can turn on or off different ones under weather. So you can do VATSIM, IVAO. Flight Simulator doesn't, apparently Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't support exporting the weather, so you can't use it, but other flight simulators like X-Plane you can. And of course, OINN doesn't have weather, so the nearest one is UBBL, which is up here somewhere. It's actually saying that it's interpolated it from all of these different weather stations, you know, kind of averaging between them, I guess. So that's kind of cool. Nearest weather individually, and then interpolated weather from multiple stations. And then you could also go to, you could view runways at that airport, procedures, whatever else. Things I didn't even realize, but I'm looking at these airways and they actually have altitude constraints, and you can see that right here. So like by the time we get on this airway, we need to be at least at 29,000 feet. And it's got like a whole lot of information. So yeah, kind of cool little nav map. It'll, and of course another one is Volanta. I don't know if you've used Volanta or not, but I've been using it for a while lately. So here's Volanta. So it's kind of, and again, I imported the route just from SimBrief, so I just said, you know, add from SimBrief, and it records all your tracks. And so, like, if I go to all of my flights, since I started using it, which was kind of late last year, you can see all the flights I've done, and then one kind of cool thing you can do is you can go to a specific aircraft and you can view the flights you did for it. So here's where we started in Nome, and we've got all of the legs that we've done just in this plane. Except this one, because it doesn't record the right plane. So what I need to go do is go look at that. Wait, where'd it go? Probably that one. Nope, that's got it. P180. Are we missing a leg here? Oh no! I don't seem to have the data at all between here to here from yesterday. I think I messed up.
Since there are no specific points of interest nearby, let's talk about the closest airport, Ramsar Airport. This airport is quite unique because its runway is sandwiched dramatically between the Caspian Sea and the lush forests of the Alborz Mountains. It opened in the 1970s and has been a vital link for travelers heading to the northern coast of Iran ever since. Pilots love the approach here because you get that rare combination of mountain and sea views all in one landing. And here's something. The airport's proximity to Ramsar's hot springs and the old Ramsar Palace means it often sees a mix of aviation enthusiasts and history buffs.
Alright, we're gonna have to go boost the performance for climb here. Make it up to altitude. I stupidly forgot to get the flaps up, that's the problem. Constrain your climb for sure. Maybe we should run through a checklist or two here. Checklist. All right, let's start off with takeoff. Okay, over 10,000 feet, landing lights off, passenger lights we already did. Barrow to standard, once we're cleared to the flight levels. APU, we don't have power and indicated airspeed monitoring passenger lights as required. Oh, and the whole reason I brought up a little Nav Map because I wanted to look at the at our destination altitude. Transition altitude is 10,000 feet. Currently reporting 2-knot winds from 250, scattered at 35, scattered at 80, temperature 6, QNH 1010. VFR conditions. pressurization check here. So we do indeed want this at like 3,100. left dev mode on accidentally. Well, I can record something for posterity then. So once you have dev mode on, you can go to Tools, Behaviors, and then you can hover over something like this and hit Control G. What did we do? Let's see. I think we just changed the throttle. So I guess be careful of that. Not that. Pitch high. I don't know why that would have changed it, but apparently it did. Switch to flight level change mode. hate to do this, but I'm gonna go here anyway and turn that off. But anyway, what that does is let you find out what actions this thing triggers in detail. You can find lots of videos about it. It's, you know, developer mode and then behaviors, and Control G is the default binding. But apparently don't do it in flight. wish we didn't have to have developer mode on to do some of these basic things. Okay, start adding power back in. Right on the edge. We'll go full under the hood IFR here. To start the elapsed timer. I need to update my checklist here also. Start the timer. Little tiny bit more power. That's too much. I did the smallest amount. At this point we need to be above 29,000 and we are. And of course we're facing a brutal headwind today, 68 knots. currently at cruise. Intentions says we've recently switched code signing providers. what just happened. Because I scanned the I looked for checklists, but because there's no checklist for this plane. I guess it took a while, and then it chimed when it was done. But I still didn't find any. The Say Intentions checklist features are kind of cool, though. Okay, let's deal with our arrival and stuff. Departures, arrivals, yep. Okay, legs. We probably just need to join it. Excellent. So 13.67 pounds required, roughly 2190 on board. So fuel is all good. Yep, that sounds about right. And then I have to leave it on this page so that I can type and have it automatically entered there. A very, very nice feature. Speed is 342 and our ground speed is a very sad 274. I'm tempted to put the winds on calm so that I can make it, because I actually am running a little bit late today. But thanks. That's gonna put me right up against the wall of time. Well, I hope people won't hate on me too much. Put live weather back on when we get closer, I hope. I don't forget. If I can get that closer to about 2 hours from now, I will be okay, I think. My other option is to use Simri, and I kind of would rather not do that. meantime here, we're gonna work on a checklist. Or at least checklist notes. Okay, so let's think about what we're really doing at this point. For one, we need to get the passengers loaded, right? So weight and fuel. So we go lights on ground. Power idle. Condition lever to cut off. And then shut off, open. The right fuel pump goes to main. Pressure light check off. And then really before we even start, along with power idle, it should be bleeds off. And generators off too. condition lever, ground idle, and then monitor. And then condition lever. To flight idle. GPU disconnect. No. Well, it says to do it then. GPU disconnect. And then right gen on, right bleed on. And then hydraulic on. Cross start is very similar, but on the left side, so after we start here, we put both back to ground idle. So both condition levers, ground idle. Left generator on, left bleed on. On if they're not already on. Set the pressurization. As required. And then run tests. Let's see. Laps. Trim. And general anti-ice settings. And then another check on doors, probably reasonable. is like check everything. Start one.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, contact Tehran radar on 132.5.
Tehran radar on 132.5, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Let's make sure I left it on comms. I did. 1325 set. Oh, that is so nice. Tehran radar, Piaggio, November 180 Lima Golf is with you at flight level 380.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Tehran radar, identified. Good evening.
sim brief does not see the checklist. Don't see the checklist you're expected. Make sure your ICAO is set correctly. Go to settings, identify, and enter it in the top left corner of the screen, or set it to auto. Which settings? Try to go to checklist tuner. And fill that. Discord said they made a P180 checklist. P180 Flight FX, all airlines.
Anchor Control on 136.05.
Switching to Anchor Control on 136.05. Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. Anchor Control, Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. Good morning, maintaining flight level 380.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Anchor Control, good evening.
Unfortunate, because it was supposedly a automated one. That's a lot of work. slowly progressing. 1 hour to go to top of descent. Let's check yield. Fuel management. Bueno. Let's go ahead and do I think we're looking at 21C. This problem the other day. We have an ILS runway. It's not working. Okay, it's loaded. Never mind. Alright, we got 150 at 4, 7, 1010, and we'll do 0 on the slope. Scatter at 35, scattered at 80 still. It's interesting they have different winds at the different runways. Intentions. Let's see. Information Foxtrot currently. 21 Charlie. That's good. 150 F4. Yep. Temperature 7. QNH 1010. Transition level 120. I thought that was 100. Weird activity. Wake turbulence. Okay, so right now we have Foxtrot. Just curious if we can cross-check that with this data. at 4, that's about 1010, 7. Scattered at 35, scattered at 80. Oh, same data. I wonder what happens if we go to Sky Vector 2. open a flight plan in Sky Vector. Ah, there it is. About the same, right? 174, scattered 35, scattered 80. Oh, god dang it. Degrees, Q&A's 1010, no sig, remarks, blah blah blah, different runways. I guess that is correct then.
Golf, contact Ankara Control on 135.575.
Contacting Ankara Control on 135.575. Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. Ankara Control, Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. Good morning at flight level 380.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Ankara Control, identified. Good morning.
Windows does that. It's because I'm hovering over an icon, it decides to hide all the full screen windows or something.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Contact Ankara Control on 129.3.
Contacting Ankara Control on 129.3. Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. Ankara Control, Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. Good morning, with you flight level 380.
Piaggio 180 Lima, Golf, Ankara Control, identified. Good morning.
Advanced system properties.
Piaggio 0, Lima Golf. Expect the ILHAN 1 November arrival. Expect to descend in about 20 minutes. Notify if you are ready to descend before that.
Expecting the ILHAN 1 November arrival. We'll notify if ready to descend before 20 minutes. Piaggio 180 Lima Golf.
I think I fixed it. Setting system about advanced system properties, performance settings, uncheck enable peak. So 480 pounds of fuel per hour. We'll take back radio comms. check that arrival to, yes, that is the one. When they were redesigning the layout for the keyboard in 2024, as long as you're changing everything, they should have made it so that none of the numbers or keys by themselves are bound to anything. That way, and you know, offer it up as, I guess, being bound to type into things. So you have something you can input, it would just type into that and not perform actions. And then of course, I mean, you have the normal modifiers like Control, Alt, and Shift, right, that you can use in various combinations. That gives you a lot of commands right there. For the, you know, alphanumeric keys, but also they should have had modal keyboard, I think, is what I would have done. And like you could use the function keys like F1 to F12 as a mode. So you hit F1 and now all your key bindings are something else. F2 shifts all the key bindings, and not just maybe the key bindings, but also the control bindings. And so you could have, like your stick, like you could click it on, it could be active in all modes, or you could have different mappings in different modes. You know, maybe you want to keep, you know, pitch and roll the same across all modes, but maybe you want the buttons to do something different, right? And you could have something bound to increment or decrement mode. So you know, you hit F1 and you're in the standard mode, and the key, none of the keys do anything by themselves. Although you could have Control, Shift, and Alt variants that do. But maybe you hit F2, and now you know the keyboard bindings are the 2020 version, right? So you could have the default layout in F2 mode be 2020. And then let people override from there. And maybe you only have 4 modes, I don't know. F1 to F4 would probably be more than enough. Then you wouldn't have to have special software and weird bindings and all kind of stuff to be able to type into this. Although, I mean, you can't come down here and, you know, click and then type. And I can even type letters. But that could be like, you know, F2 mode or F3 mode. So you just hit F3, type, 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 back to F1. I think that's how I would do it. But I could probably do that all now in hangar control, because you can define your own variables in hangar control, and you know, so like if I hit F1, it sets mode F1. If I hit F2, it sets mode F2. And then other things could be conditional on the mode. So when you hit a letter, it looks at, hey, okay, what is this mode variable, and it does something different based on that. You can likely do something similar in SPAD. of me wants to write my own. I still want to learn all the Windows stuff sufficiently that I have to deal with it. Activity though is going to be maybe building out a say intentions checklist for this plane. It's kind of fun because you can have the co-pilot call it out and you can check it off, or you can even set it up so the co-pilot can execute it, or you can split it up. Co-pilot can do co-pilot things and you can do other things. Guys need to work on their interface. Like, you can't really kind of dynamically change it so easily. descent is before or top of descent? What can you tell us about Ankara?
Ankara is the capital of Turkey, officially declared so in 1923, and is known for its impressive Ataturk Mausoleum, historic Roman ruins, and its role as the country's political and administrative center.
That's pretty boring. What's the most fun thing to do in Ankara?
One of the most fun things to do in Ankara is to visit IMKER, the impressive mausoleum of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, which combines history, architecture, and beautiful city views all in one spot.
Where is the best place to eat in Ankara?
I'm a tour guide, so I focus on landmarks and history, not restaurants. But if you want to know about Ankara's famous sites or aviation history, I'm your person.
Sure, tell us about the aviation history in Ankara.
Ankara has played a key role in Turkish aviation history, being home to the Turkish Aeronautical Association, founded in 1925, and the historic Etimesgut Air Base, which has hosted numerous air shows and pilot training programs over the decades.
I kind of like the tour guide function.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Clear the ILHAN 1 November into Esenboga. When you're ready, descend flight level 280.
Cleared ILHAN 1 November into Ankara. When ready, descend flight level 280, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Cleared ILHAN 1 November into Ankara. Descend at your discretion to flight level 280.
Cleared ILHAN 1 November into Ankara. Descend at our discretion to flight level 280, Piaggio 180 Lima Golf.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Descend, flight level 120.
Send flight level 120, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Contact Ankara control on 124.125.
Ankara control on 124.125, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Ankara control, Piaggio November 180 Lima Golf is with you at flight level 380, descending to flight level 120.
Piaggio 18, Zero Lima, Golf, Ankara control, identified. Good morning.
That's the same guy. Alright, here comes top of descent. Oh, we have to start paying attention to our speed and everything. I want to go as fast as possible. Guessing it's off over here, maybe north of the city. I think here's the main city. Airport up here. And this one says 21C here, but the imagery says 21L. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. There's another 21L here. Huh. Somewhere. So this may be another one of those, the scenery's all messed up. Anti-ice is set. Let's get seatbelt lights on. QNH? We did not get a QNH yet, right? If not, we'll go to 1010. And an auto throttle. Like, you worry about prop RPM and power settings.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Descent. Flight level 100. QNH 1010.
Descent flight level 100, QNH 1010, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, contact Esenboga, approach on 119.1.
Going to Esenboga approach on 119.1, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Since we're flying near Ankara, let's talk about the city itself. Ankara became the capital of Turkey in 1923. chosen by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk for its strategic location and distance from the coast, which made it easier to defend. The city is also famous for its Roman ruins, like the Temple of Augustus, and the massive Ataturk Mausoleum, IMKER, which can be seen from miles around. Ankara is a hub for Turkish aviation, with Esenboga Airport serving as a major gateway. The city is also home to the Turkish Aeronautical Association, which has helped train generations of pilots.
Esenboga approach, Piaggio 180 Lima Golf. With you at flight level 162, descending flight level 100.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Esenboga approach, identified. Good morning, cleared BUK transition. Expect the ILS Zulu runway 21 center approach into Esenboga.
Cleared the BUK transition. Expect the ILS Zulu runway 21 center approach into Esenboga. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Descend altitude 6,000 feet.
Descend altitude 6,000 feet. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Hold here, I guess. Or let's clear that.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Cleared for the ILS runway 21 center approach via BUK.
Cleared the ILS runway 21 center approach via BUK, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Runways just dropped. Or loaded in. So it should be the left side over here. And we've got the localizer up. We're tracking just below the glide slope. Are all set. Man, this plane flies so nice.
Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, contact Esenboga Tower on 118.1 at 5 DME.
Contact Esenboga Tower on 118.1 at 5 DME. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Esenboga Tower, Piaggio November 180 Lima Golf is inbound ILS 21 center approach, 5 DME.
Piaggio 180 Lima Golf, Esenboga Tower, roger. Continue ILS 21 center approach. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf, wind calm. Runway 21 center, clear to land.
Clear land, 21 center, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Alright, flaps full.
Approaching runway 21 center.
Center. Little low. Gear confirmed down, flaps full. We're at approach speed and stable. Continuing.
Hold short and 2-1 right, Tango Charlie Alpha Whiskey Kilo.
Reversers off.
Hold short and 2-1 right, Tango Charlie Alpha Whiskey Kilo. Tango Charlie Alpha Whiskey. Kilo cross runway 21 right. Cross 21 right, Tango Charlie Alpha Whiskey Kilo. Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Welcome to Esenboga. Exit at Bravo 1 available. Contact ground on 121.6.
Ground on 121.6, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf.
Tango Charlie Alpha Whiskey Kilo holding short of.
Esenboga ground, Piaggio November 180 Lima Golf, exited hotel, looking for taxi to VIP parking, apron Alpha.
Piaggio 180 Lima, Golf, Esenboga ground, taxi to VIP terminal via hotel, Alpha 3, good day.
Taxi to VIP terminal via hotel Alpha 3, have a good one, Piaggio 0 Lima Golf. Right, let's clean up, we get flaps up. Strobes off. down to taxi lights and get auto feather off. And let's turn up the floods. Let's see, we can go ahead and bring these down to ground idle. Get oil coolers on. Slightly tempted to get Entourage because I think they have a car that will guide you to your parking, which would be pretty cool. And is an actual thing. These taxi arrows are a lot less obnoxious than the default sim ones though. And real planes now are getting taxi guidance, but in the avionics here. Which is pretty wild. So we're on Alpha, we exited hotel. And as far as I know, we go all the way down here. To the end, turn left, turn right.
Tango Charlie Whiskey Sierra Oscar, runway 21 left, taxi via Golf 6, Golf, Golf 7, hold short of runway 21 right, then Alpha 1, hold short of runway 21 center, then Alpha 5, Alpha, Juliet 1, Mike 8.
Runway 21 left, taxi via Golf 6, Golf, Golf 7, hold short of runway 21 right, then Alpha 1, hold short of runway 21 center, then Alpha 5, Alpha Juliet 1, Mike 8, Tango Charlie Whiskey Sierra Oscar.
Ready to taxi. Tango Charlie Hotel Hotel Golf runway 21 left, taxi via Golf 6, Golf, Golf 7, hold short of runway 21 right, then Alpha 1, hold short of runway 21 center, then Alpha 5, Alpha Juliet 1, Mike 8.
Runway 21 left, taxi via Golf 6, Golf, Golf 7, hold short of runway 21 right, then Alpha 1, hold short of runway 21 center, then Alpha 5, Alpha Juliet 1, Mike 8, Tango Charlie Hotel Hotel Golf.
Alright, let's get the brakes on first, I guess. We need to go 12211. SkyOps 0 Lima Golf, we have arrived and the mission is completed.
Excellent work on completing the VIP transport mission. Your smooth landing and professionalism are appreciated. The VIPs are grateful for your service.
Alright, mission completed. Alright, until next time. Looks like fairly generic fare.